Welcome again, and for you who are just getting to know me, I do have the gift of tears, and I do have a heavy heart today, so just to welcome that into the space. I invite you now to take some deeper breaths so we can let go of our to-do lists and whatever awaits us. Listen to our heartbeat, tuning in to whatever word God has for us today. God, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Is war ever moral? What a weekend to explore this topic. I can thank the Friday Men's Group for asking me to preach on this. This is from them. And it feels important to remind everyone up front that in our tradition, we do our best to remember that I am a mere human, not any closer to God than any of you. So my words are delivered with prayer and reading and research and contemplation, but my DNA is the same as yours. And so, as always, I offer this in love, being humbled by the task. It broke my heart to learn what is transpiring in the Holy Lands. Those of us committed to and invested in religious communities know firsthand how much symbols and traditions and temples and places and the preservation of them can inspire us and also invoke a sense of righteousness and therefore also disconnection sometimes with those we deem to be wrong. And then if it goes on, the sense of superiority that emerges from that comes because it's necessary to maintain the arrangement. And then anger and angry action that leads to harm to defend the position. It feels important to say up front that I believe that Hamas attacking civilians is terrible. And strategically, I doubt that doing what they did will make things better for the average Palestinian. I join others in wondering if they were in fact trying to ruin the possible agreement between Saudi Arabia and Israel. But what is also true is that the lives of those who live surrounded by a wall with barbed wire and checkpoints is terrible and is basically a prison. If you don't know it, it's true, and I'm not sure I would believe it or feel the way I do if I hadn't been there myself on a pilgrimage. The whole situation as it is right now makes me think of the words from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, who said, "Riots are the language of the unheard." There is a certain point where some will feel as if there is no hope. And what I observed when the food is coming from the same ones who offer arms, the options are dire. And when it's not possible to have faith in tomorrow, for some, all that is left is anger and bombs and missiles. And then the response to that war is more war. And I heard this morning there has been an all-out declaration for a regional war where far more will lose their lives, and on it will go with more blood and more tears from parents who lose their children with no gain and no real reason for any of it. This is why Jesus said that he blessed the ones who give energy to peace. And this is why Gandhi said that an eye for an eye will at some point make the whole world blind. It might be a surprise for some to learn that for the first few hundred years of Christianity, the people of the way, as they were called, For those first 3 centuries, they were mostly pacifists. It was typical for Roman soldiers who converted to the movement to, in quotes, put off the military belt. And some scholars argue that this is much practical as it was theological or philosophical because the Roman Empire was a beast, of course. And maybe predictably, when Christianity became the religion of the state with the Edict of Milan issued by Constantine in the year 313, when the religion got the cloak of power, that's when it started to change. And maybe you have heard just war theory that comes from Augustine in the year 413 in some writing in his work called The City of God. He was inspired by people like Cicero and the book of Deuteronomy. And this theory has now been used over time to support wars of all kinds. But Augustine himself was extremely committed to the part of the Christian tradition that saw all war as intrinsically evil. Augustine condemned those who desired, sought, or enjoyed war and made it clear that to engage in a just war is to engage in a war by force of necessity. Augustine wrote, "To carry on war and extend a kingdom over wholly subdued nations seems to bad men to be felicity, to good men, necessity." The criticism of the just war theory is that it has never seemed to have really stopped a war. So some started calling it the justified war theory because it's just used to justify more war. So is war ever moral? Well, here's the bottom line, at least for me. And again, this is Nicole talking here. As I have pondered this a lot, the answer for me at least is yes and no. Defending what we care about is worth our treasure of money and lives on occasion. And as I put a lot of thought into it, I think self-defense is moral. And in general, I don't see war as moral as a whole. But what if sometimes war is collective self-defense? What if that can be moral? And what if part of how we can bring peace is when we draw a boundary around those causing harm? So we limit what needs to be lost and protect what is good. Is there such a thing as a just war? Maybe World War II? In general, I kind of wonder if it's impossible to kill in order to stop killing. And as has been our practice, we're going to take just 90 seconds and we're going to hear from the person next to us. Is war ever moral? What do you think? And if you're not in a position to share, you can say, I'm still pondering, but I'm going to listen to others. So have at it.
Greetings to you wherever you are watching this. For those of you whom I have yet to meet in person, I'm Reverend Nicola Marsh, pastor here at Community UCC. And we see that people like you are watching our live stream each week. And because of this, we are excited to be embarking upon an experiment. And we need you. If you are engaging with us regularly, finding meaning in what we are about, we would like to extend a special invitation for you to be among the first CUCC digital disciples. For signing up for just $10 a month, you will receive a t-shirt with the new CUCC logo. And we are also exploring the idea of offering other content to those of you who are part of this new and growing area of digital ministry. Sign up to support us in this new way at cuccboulder.org/support by clicking on the yellow donate tab and noting you are a digital disciple in the instructions. Or as always, we welcome an old-fashioned check mailed to us at CUCC, P.O. Box 3646, Boulder, Colorado 80307. Thank you for being and building beloved community with us, and thank you for your gift, whatever it might be.